Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com.
And this is Travis from Oddfellow's Thoughts at oddfellowsthoughts.wordpress.com.
And we are here today for episode 20 to talk about the DC New 52 6 months in and some news from WonderCon. So let's start there, Travis. News from WonderCon. Anything that caught your eye that you saw or read?
The only thing I know I'm invested in right now, just because I'm curious to see where they go with it, is the new Captain Marvel.
Yes, the new Captain Marvel. That's that. When I was looking at the stuff from coming out of WonderCon, that was the first thing that jumped out at me from Marvel. You know, they have their Avengers versus X-Men thing, and there's some stuff about Spider-Man. It's like, eh. But I saw that post about the new Captain Marvel from, what's her name? It's escaping me at the moment.
Kelly Sue?
Kelly Sue. Oh
Cormac.
gosh, DeConnick.
DeConnick, sorry.
Yeah, there it is. I see it now. I'm looking at CBR's page for the information. So new Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers is taking on that role for whatever reason. So I'm interested in that, of course. I've always liked the Ms. Marvel character in general. I heard that the Ms.
Not
Marvel.
Ms. Marvel.
Right, but you know, when she was Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
I heard that the Ms. Marvel series that came out a few years ago was actually pretty good, so I've been meaning to pick that up and trade just to read it.
Uh-huh.
You know what's really interesting about this, Travis? I just mentioned this on the last episode, the March previews episode, where Secret Avengers, an issue that was solicited in the March previews, talks about a new Captain Marvel, and it's not Carol Danvers. I believe it's a new Kree character or something. I don't know what exactly, but there's a Captain. I mean, in the copy it says something about Captain Marvel. So it's really curious that so they announced that in previews, and then here at WonderCon they announce Carol Danvers is taking on that title. So I don't understand Marvel's strategy here with this particular brand.
Okay, well, when does that come out?
When does
your thing that you were reading?
that comes out in May?
Well, see, in July is when this one comes out. So
Yeah.
maybe there is.
That there's some sort of connection between those two stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, but it's just odd that they announce, you know, like I said, they announce a new male Captain Marvel, and then a few months later they come out with Carol Danvers taking on that role. Why do that? I don't understand what their strategy is there.
Well,
But
maybe it's to make Carol taking on the role that much. I would assume it's part of the story.
hmm
I mean, because we're going to have a reason why she's taking on the role, right?
I would think so, considering how long she's been Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope that they tie the stories together in a you know some sort of meaningful way. Oh, here we go. I'm looking at the Marvel previews for the Secret Avengers number 27, and it does feature Carol Danvers as Ms. Marvel on the cover or in this image. So, but it says Captain Marvel reborn to unite all Kree. So. I'm really curious about this. I am actually when I saw that, you know, because I've always loved Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe.
Uh-huh.
So when I saw that they were bringing back a Captain Marvel,
Right.
I was going to pick it up anyway.
Well, I remember you saying that. All right.
And now with, like I said, I've always enjoyed Carol Danvers, that character. So to see her take on this spotlight role, I guess, I'm very intrigued. And you're familiar with Kelly Sue DeConnick's work.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've read anything by her.
Yeah.
Actually, so.
Well, I said I know that I haven't actually read the Osborne series that she wrote, but I know a lot of people really like that. I've read doing she did the final arc of Supergirl before the DC relaunch, and I really liked that. I liked her treatment of Supergirl, and Lois Lane was in it and whatnot. So that sold me enough to try out whatever. I've been kind of waiting for whenever the next, solid book that she was going to be on, just so I could, give it a shot, because I liked that story well enough and the writing in it well enough to, definitely give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's my investment in the book. I mean, I know the character and whatnot, but I don't know, I haven't been reading any kind of Marvel titles with her in it for a long time. So
Well, I've been reading her in New Avengers for
right.
several years now, and she doesn't. Bendis doesn't give that character a whole lot to do in the title, but when she does do something, it's usually pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. Other news coming out of WonderCon that caught my eye, a couple smaller publisher information news. So from IDW, Mark Waid will be writing a new Rocketeer series with Wow, I tried to mash his name into one. Chris Samney doing the art on that. Travis, did you hear? Apparently, when they were announcing this title, someone walked out prematurely and dressed up as Rocketeer, as the Rocketeer, and the guy doing the announcement was like, "Oh, hold on, wait, not yet." and they did the to the point where the guy was supposed to walk out. Well, the guy who walked out dressed in the Rocketeer uniform was Mark Waid.
Oh, nice. No, I hadn't heard that. I mean, I heard there was a Rocketeer there. I didn't realize it was Mark. That's funny. No, this is a limited series, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I did not. I'm not. I can't say for certain, and I
I
don't
think it's
have.
kind of interesting that they're both doing Daredevil and they're doing this Rocketeer book.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, because
Yeah.
Chris Samney comes on here in the next issue or two. I can't remember when.
12 or something like that.
Is it 12? Wow. Okay. Well, then it's a few issues down the road.
I think. I don't know for sure.
I have to say, Chris Samney, he came onto my radar only because I saw him last year at Emerald City. Do you remember that artist panel they did where
Yeah,
they were
the comic tour. Yeah.
yeah, Comic Tour, that's right, where they were so they were doing all that stuff, and he was one of the most interesting artists up there on that panel just because of the things he was saying,
Yeah.
not because of his art, though I don't dislike his art. But yeah, it's like from that day I'm like, ooh, Chris, and every time I hear Chris Sandman, like it takes me back to that. I'm like, ooh, I wonder what he's doing. What kind of work is he doing out there that I can see and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
also from IDW, there's a new Judge Dredd comic coming out for the Judge Dredd fans. I've never been much of a Judge Dredd fan, but I know a lot of people are.
Yep.
And then also Archaea coming out with 3 titles that are interesting to me in some aspect. One is a space. Man, I'm just trying to throw things together. Space 1999 comic, bringing us back to that universe. Did you ever watch that show, Travis?
Yes, I did. I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd like, oh, horrible.
Yeah.
But, it was a space show.
Yeah.
So that was like, really cool.
It was an interesting concept, if totally implausible, but
Right.
well, even the standards from the time that was out. But anyway, yeah, it was an interesting show. It has a lot of a cult following, kind of like Star Trek did when it first came out and then was canceled. So I'm interested in that. Do I really want to buy that comic? Probably not, but just to see the Space 1999 brand out there again after so many years. That's interesting. And then there's this title, Siegfried, says, born of man and Valkyrie, his destiny lies between 2 worlds. So it's by looks like Alice. An epic Norse adventure inspired by Wagner's classic opera. So that's really interesting. And the cover image here, or at least this preview image of the guy holding a sword. He's in a pool of water. That just looks pretty cool. And then finally, there's another. So if you go to CBR and you look at the Archaea WonderCon posters reveal, there's a bunch more stuff that they're showing off. But the third thing that really caught my eye was this title called Iron, and it caught my eye because it's just this. It's kind of like this dark reddish background, and in the middle there's this one sliver of a panel showing a white-haired rabbit dressed in a vest and shirt, and then simply the title, which is Iron. It's by S.M. Vidari. And it says the war begins summer 2012. Just that image alone. And the tagline here: who will be the patriot and Who the Traitor. So I'm intrigued. I want to know what this is about.
Yeah.
And I seem to have this interest in rabbit characters in comics. I don't know why. Unwritten did a couple stories so far. The Vertigo title Unwritten, where featuring a character who is a rabbit. But he is not he's not your Bugs Bunny or other cute bunny animated bunny character. He's a foul-mouthed, a little bit crazed and very angry rabbit, and he's just really entertaining to read. So anyway, I saw that and I thought, well, that looks interesting. I might have to check that out when that gets solicited to see if I actually want to pick that title up. And there's a bunch more other titles coming out from Archaea that look really good. There's a Masquerade thing and some other titles that looked really cool just based on these cover images. So they're doing a good job there, I think, trying to get people's interest in just these one-shot images. So that's good. And then finally, stuff coming out of WonderCon. Mark Waid has long been talking about webcomics and digital comics and I guess his views about these things and what's the best thing that can be done with this newish format. And he gave us a preview of it. He released it on his website, markwade.com. He gave us a short story that you can download for free. It's a PDF. It's called Luther. It's a zombie story that he created with Jeremy Rock. If you haven't checked this out, you really should. I looked at it the other day, and I finally this morning, before we started recording, I read the whole thing in a large format. I was looking at it on my phone, which is not very conducive. I'll let you know, in the small screen that I have on my phone. So I urge you to download the PDF and take a look at it on your larger screen if you have that. But he also said that come April 2nd, I believe, his website will be relaunched and live again I'm quoting here from the CBR article, live again as a process blog for webcomics and what we're doing. And so they'll be giving, throughout April, he says, we'll be giving sample material away for free, showing what the format can do. And he'll be doing interviews with pioneers in this field. So I'm very excited about this. Mark Waid's always been one of my very favorite writers over the years. He's definitely opinionated about some things, and I think if anybody can pull this off, it's him. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he and his partners will do with this. Your thoughts on this, Travis?
So I'm just curious, is that something separate from Marvel? And Marvel's whole thing?
Yes.
Or are they?
It's all Mark Waid. In fact, he talks about that. As far as what they're going to do and how they're going to do things and how much they can release, it depends on how much money he makes on this. So the stuff that he's doing is coming out of his own pocket, but they are talking about how they can sell these things through what kind of monetization that they can and how they can deliver it and what they can deliver. So it's very interesting. I can't wait to see what's going on with that.
Well, chances are he won't get any money out of me.
So do you how do you feel about Mark Waid in general as a writer?
He's okay.
He's okay? Just okay?
That's what I said. I didn't keep collecting the Daredevil title like you and a million other people did.
Oh man, you are missing out.
I read that first arc. I read the first story arc, and the first story arc ended in a way that irritated me, and so yeah, I was done with it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Well, I hear it's gotten better, so I may pick it up and try it.
It never got bad.
Mark Waid himself isn't enough for me to be all excited about reading a stinking comic book or a web comic. I don't know. For me, in my mind, there's a difference between a web comic and a comic book first.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting something different out of a web comic than I am a comic book. But I don't want to read a comic book on my computer. I don't. And so it doesn't hold a lot against me. I mean, unless it is free or it is incredibly dirt cheap, and even if it's dirt cheap, I don't know if I would continue to buy something. But if he's going to have the same kind of price points that Marvel and DC currently have for their digital downloads, then no, I won't pick up a single.
Oh yeah,
I won't pick up a single one.
yeah. I'd probably be inclined to agree with that for sure.
So I don't know. I haven't been there yet, but since we've talked about it a little bit, I'll probably go and check it out and see what it is, just because.
Well, and it's certainly interesting.
It's a threat to my way of reading comic books. Something else. I have to check it out for that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I'm going to keep anybody else from doing it, but chances are pretty good that it won't get my money.
Well, I'll tell you what. The fact that it's a zombie story just kind of turns me off. But it's not. It's kind of like The Walking Dead. It's not. Yes, it's a zombie comic, but it's not about the zombies. It's about the people, and that's
Right.
exactly what this story is.
Mhm.
In fact, this story could easily, besides the fact that it's different styles of writing between Kirkman and Wade,
Right.
this story could easily fit into the Walking Dead universe.
So does this book look like a comic book? You open it up and it looks like a comic book.
Uh,
It has panels and whatnot.
oh yeah, yeah. There are panels. There's dial.
So it's a page.
Yes, but it's not your traditional portrait page. It's more of a landscape style page.
So it's a strip.
Sort of. You got to. No, it looks like a page, but it looks like a page has been turned. And there are panels. So sometimes there are 2 rows of panels. Sometimes they're just one. Like I said, you should go take a look at it. There is a I hesitate to say this because Mark Waid himself said that he disagrees with this moniker, but there is a sense of motion to it, but it's not a motion comic in the sense of the motion comics that we've seen so far, like from Marvel and the Watchmen stuff from DC, where they try to add some motion in the animation, although
Right.
it doesn't quite work, which is why they don't
Sucks.
do them anymore,
Uh-huh.
because no one liked it. It was this weird hybrid between static and motion in a comic that it was not good. But this I would say the word I would use here is it gives you a layered effect in that there is motion, but it's a narrative motion. It's not an imagery motion, I guess. So I like what they
I'll
did.
have to go check it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely check it out.
I gotta go look.
But it is interesting. I wanted to point out that so before Warren Ellis did his series, and the name now is escaping me, that he provided online for free for a year or so or longer. Wow. Do you remember what that was, Travis?
No, I'm drawing a blank now too. As soon as you said, I can't remember.
Oh my God. I can't remember. Freak Angels.
Yes.
That's what it was, which I thoroughly enjoyed. That was an excellent comic. I don't know if that site is still around, but you can buy the trades. They eventually collected the comic and trade. But what they did, so he provided this online for free, but it was a traditional page. It was a portrait style page, and you read the page of comic, and you clicked the button down below, and it turned the page for you, and you read the next page. So it's just like reading a print comic. It's just on your screen.
Uh-huh.
But then then now we have this new-ish format from Wade and his artist partner. Jeremy Rock. And so I'm very intrigued, and I'm interested to see where we go from here, because there seems to be this push, and I don't want to get too much into the whole digital versus print thing, because we could do an entire show on that, I think.
Easy.
So we'll save that for later. Actually, maybe after Mark Waid relaunches his website, we should go take a look at that, and then we'll come back and talk digital comics for an episode, Travis. But I'm really interested to see where this goes now, and what Mark Waid's vision is for this kind of stuff, and what the community of artists and creators, what they think about this, and that's really what he's trying to build, is this community, and to see where it goes in terms of how the fans react, and what we would like to see, and what we'd like to buy, and how we all interact with each other to create and experience comic books or comic stories in this fashion. So that was probably the biggest news coming out of WonderCon. So we'll see what happens next on that. Travis, from one con to another, Emerald City Comic Con. I just want to mention that because you and I are both going in 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks from now?
Yep.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I wanted to see if you had heard the news for not this year's but next year's Emerald City Comic Con. One little bit of news. Jim Demonakis, the con coordinator, announced that next year's Emerald City Comic Con, the 11th year, they will be going to 3 full days.
Seriously.
Yeah. So Friday will be a full day starting next year.
Cool. But how am I going to survive 3 days of a con?
Well, that's really only because what they normally open the doors at 10.
Is it
No,
10?
well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought it's in the afternoon.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm sorry. I was talking about like the full day, like
Right.
Saturday. That opens at 10, right?
Uh-huh.
So really, they're only adding 4 hours to your experience. What's 4 hours, Travis? Come on.
I can do a lot in 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking with my wife about this because we have some other things, other trips planned for next year. And so
But nothing is as important as this.
we talked about not going to Emerald City.
What?
I know, to save some money so we could do these other things. But now with Mr. Demonakis talking about this stuff and what may happen, I'm like, oh man, I really want to go. So
Did he happen to say what the dates were of the next year's?
he did not, and
Okay.
I doubt we'll get that anytime soon.
Because see, that's the only wrinkle that is in there for me. I have these annoying things called children, and I can only take them out of so many days of school.
Oh yeah.
That means I have to be there the day before. Because right now, I basically get into town on Friday, get myself settled, and then get in line. At the con.
Yeah, when he was talking about it, and I got this news from an episode that he appeared on of Comic Geek Speak.
Right, I haven't listened to that yet. Yeah.
So yeah, that's when he announced that, I'm like, oh, Travis, that's going to cut into, or not cut into, but that might inconvenience you in some way, because I know you like you say, you arrive early that same day and then go.
Yep.
Well, I certainly hope he doesn't do another early March dates for the 11th one, because that was, we almost didn't go last year because of that.
Yeah.
Just because of the weather and stuff. It turned out fine, but I was concerned about it.
I don't know. It didn't turn out that fine. Well, I had to ride a bus instead of the train.
For you, yeah.
It's the avalanches. So, at any rate.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting news coming out of there. So I'm super excited about this. That's all I'm thinking. I'm at work, Travis, and that's all I think about is going to Emerald City Comic Con.
That, trust me, all this stuff that's coming out of WonderCon, it's just like, damn, can we just get to my con now?
Yeah. I cannot wait. Okay, well, let's move on from that. All the con talk. Let's get into the meat of this episode. The new 52 from DC, 6 months in. And so we're going to talk about the 52 comics. Now, Travis and I did this back when the new 52 was announced. We talked about the number ones that we read.
Yep.
And so you can go listen to those episodes. We did basically 5 episodes just based on the announcement, and then, of course, that first month of comics. So you can go back and listen to those and see what compare that to what we're talking about now.
Heck, I may have to go back and listen to those.
Yeah, although that last one was pretty long, so that would take a while. Anyway, let's go on. We're going to do this not alphabetically like we did before, but we'll do it in the groupings, the families, I guess, of the titles. And we'll start off with Justice League family of titles. And we'll just start right off with Justice League. So are you still collecting that?
Yes, I am. And I'm very glad the first arc's over.
And why is that?
Because I'm looking forward to actually getting a team and actually do stuff as a team.
Yeah.
That's my. I enjoyed this book, but it seemed like it took a long. They spent a lot of months, 6 months, showing us basically their first encounter with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that seem long? Does to me.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. This title, you know how I felt about it going up until I'd say issue 5. The first 4 issues, I was super excited about this.
Uh-huh.
I was loving this. This was my number 1 title to read every month.
Yeah.
And then I got to the 5th issue, and then we get I'll just say it, the disappointing 6th issue of this title. I'm like, oh man, that just dropped down in my estimation of in comparison to the rest of the 52.
So you didn't like issue number 6?
I did not like the resolution to it.
Was it because it was quick?
So quick.
Yeah,
and
that was my son Ethan's. That was his opinion. I was like, oh, well, that was really
pointless.
Anticlimactic. I mean, there were some cool big shots, but it was like, boom, done.
I got to the end of that 6th issue, and I thought they could have done this story in 3 or 4, probably 4 issues would have been good, and given us less pretty pictures. And I like Jim Lee's art. I've really appreciated the stuff he's produced for this title, so I don't mind seeing those pictures. But at the same time, there seemed to be a lot of pages taken up by big panels of his art that just, to me, elongated the story that didn't need to be there. So it makes me want, where's the editing here? Where's the streamlining of the story? Now, maybe there can't be any because this comic is done by the
2 of the 3 bosses.
Yeah, the chief creative officer and the co-publisher.
Yep.
So whatever, however that works, whatever. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in this. I did actually I was really enjoying the origin story of the Justice League here. I like the fact that it was Darkseid as the villain. I thought that was really a neat way to bring Darkseid back into the DCU. But I don't know. They could have done a lot more with less, I'll say.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the next issue because I'm looking forward to them now being a team and how do they actually operate with each other? Because they didn't operate with each other. They all had to be standing in the same place, and there were monsters to beat up.
Well, and do we know for sure that they are jumping 5 years ahead to the I guess the modern day DCU? Yeah,
that's we were told was supposed to happen. The first arc was how they became about, and then it was going to move forward into the current timeline.
Boy, I'm really leery, Travis, about how they're going to do that, considering how the first story arc ended. I in some way, I'd almost prefer them just to continue. Maybe they should have just done this and said, okay, you know what, we're going to relaunch the DCU, and it's going to be from day one, and just tell all the stories from that perspective instead of this. Most of the titles are 5 years after the DC, basically the superheroes started showing up. Because I'm really leery about what's going to happen now and how the characterizations will be portrayed and their relationships. So we get this gap, this 5-year gap between when they started and what we get now, and I'm really concerned about how jarring that's going to be especially for new readers.
Well, if a new reader starts on number 7, it won't be jarring at all because
that's true. That's true, but obviously that's not their plan. They want you to pick up the issues starting with number 1 and going on through. But yeah, you're right. That would work if you're a new reader and you just come right into it, I suppose. But yeah, so it's almost like this.
The whole going back 5 years and telling their origin story was stupid
from the get go. Yeah, they should have done that like starting the second year of the title to reveal the origin story of the Justice League. Yeah. Or something along those lines, or do a mini series to do that. I don't know, but it's like now with issue number 7, we're starting again with this title.
Yeah, in a sense, I guess, yeah.
But I'm still gonna get it. I still like the title. It's just I was disappointed in how that first story ended.
Yeah, but there were some cool fight scenes in it though.
Yeah. Like I said, the the drawings were really well done. I didn't care, I'll just throw this out here. I didn't care that they had to bring in so many different inkers, especially on, I think, the last two issues. Number 5 at the very least, because I reviewed that on the blog. They had, I can't remember. I'm going off my poor memory now, but I think they had 4 or 5 different inkers on that issue. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the fact that you're getting the title out and not skipping a month or two. But at the same time, it does create a certain amount of, oh crap, I hate it when I can't think of the word, difference in the art. It's noticeable. But anyway. All right, that's Justice League. Let's go on. Otherwise, we're going to have another 3-hour episode if we don't move quickly. Justice League International.
Not getting anywhere.
When did you quit getting it?
I think issue 3.
Oh, really? See, I dropped it after 6 because this is a title that I really wanted to like. I wanted to succeed, and I knew from the first issue that this was not going to be my cup of tea. It was just the wrong way to tell that story.
Why did you get it for 6 issues then?
Because I do this all the time. I get a comic
storyline,
and well, not just that. And that's secondary. But really, what it is that I want to like the title, and so I hope that the first maybe 1 or 2 issues was just kind of the writer and the artist trying to find to find their way together to tell a really good story, and so I continue on with it. Perhaps more than I should, just in the hope that this title will get better.
See, for me, 3 issues in, it was pretty obvious that was not going to be the case.
It was to me too.
And I can put the money someplace else.
That's true. So, that's very true.
I have to admit, there are characters that I'll hang on to for forever. And I wanted this to succeed too. I was actually as interested in this as I was in the Justice League itself. I thought this was a group of people that could be interesting and whatnot. But no, there's way too many dumb stereotypes, and it was just.
Well, see, I think we talked about this from our review of the first issue, in that there were a lot of good pieces to that title.
Yeah.
But it wasn't gelling as a whole. No. And that's how it for all the 6 issues I got. That's exactly what I got month after month.
Yeah.
Some good, few pieces of good characterization. I really liked August. Oh man, I can never remember the Chinese guy's name. The
Augustin Irons and something or other.
Yeah. I really liked that character. He got to be interesting to me. I liked the portrayal of Booster Gold as this. People kind of look down on him, but he's actually quite capable. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, Batman is in his corner, so there's got to be something there.
Right.
So I enjoyed those pieces, but yeah, it just didn't get anywhere. It didn't go anywhere, and so I dropped it. Aquaman. What a great comic, right, Travis?
Yeah.
I need to insert
Aquaman.
I need to insert the crickets chirping there in that silence.
Haven't picked up a single issue of this.
Dude, you are missing out.
Oh, that's what I keep hearing.
It is such a good and not
Is it good, or are they beaten to death? I mean, you said in the first issue, it's so great because they kind of make light of, they kind of do the whole Aquaman is lame thing. They kind of play with that and make fun of it. Yeah. But are they still doing that?
Okay, so
are they still doing that 6 issues in?
Yes.
So he's a joke. He's a joke.
Well, see, and that is a failing.
The writer admits that he's a joke. I win.
Hold on. All right. So I will admit that is a failing on Jeff John's part. That is a line of thinking that he is perpetuating throughout 6 issues that he should have dropped after the first one. Yep. Okay. Beyond that, Travis, not only does this comic look beautiful, the Ivan Hayes art, along with the other creators involved in it, is just it's a great looking superhero comic book. So that to me that's a huge plus. The storyline, if you set aside the whole Aquaman's a joke in the DCU and in our world, if you set that aside, there's actually a really good story that's being told, and the next arc that they're doing looks to be really cool. So I can't wait to read that. So I'm enjoying the hell out of it right now.
I know there are lots of people out there who say the book's great.
Yeah.
It's Aquaman.
All right.
So it's a pretty looking Aquaman. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is a very pretty looking Aquaman.
Give him a beard, maybe cut off a hand.
Oh,
start
please,
walking.
no, please don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, let's go on. Another Justice League character, Wonder Woman.
Love this book. I love this book. I love the writer's treatment of the Pantheon. It feels new. I mean, we all know who these characters are. You know, we all know who War is. We all know, you know, who Poseidon is and whatnot. But these versions of them, to me, feel really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And her working within that, I think this is just a great book. I'm really intrigued. I like her as a character. I like this new rendition of this character they have. I like the plot and the story that's going on right now. I'm not really excited by the backup artist that they have, you know, to give Cliff Chang some breathing space, but I can handle that because I like the story well enough.
It certainly Cliff Chang on art certainly is one of the big selling points to me for that title for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to his return on that. Yeah, everything you said about Wonder Woman, I agree with. What did you think of the news, or the reveal, the controversy about Wonder Woman's daddy?
I didn't think it was that big a deal.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I mean, I understand why some people are mad about it, but I think they're trying to take too much ownership of a story that is a mythos that you can play around with. Mm-hmm. I guess is how I see it. Yeah. I mean, I can see, you know, I think it's actually it's interesting. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. You know, I said I'm liking the comic. I'm liking the comic in ways I didn't think I was going to, because I find it intriguing. I mean, like I said, I like Wonder Woman. I like the way they're dealing with her, but I also like this whole other thing that's going on kind of around her that she's not even completely aware of. Mm-hmm. The whole, and you know, remember they build this thing as being kind of a horror comic.
Yeah.
There's some gory parts in it, but I don't.
Yeah, when they announced that, I thought there's no way.
I think that was they're mistaken. It's not that, you know.
It was. It's certainly not horror as I think you and I define horror.
Right.
I don't know how other people feel about it, but yeah, it's like when they announced that it's going to be a horror comic. Like, no, it isn't. It's going to be a mythological comic with some perhaps horrific imagery or elements to it, but it's not a horror comic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about Wonder Woman, the title, I guess a complaint perhaps, is that, again, just like I said in issue number 1, I wish that we would have a little bit more of Wonder Woman herself, not in terms of what she's doing in the comic. She's doing stuff. She's interacting with people. But like the issue where she goes back to Paradise Island and, the Amazons are tricked into fighting each other. Uh-huh. And there's the one Amazon, I can't remember her name now, but she basically is leading a small group of Amazons to basically kick Wonder Woman off Paradise Island.
Yeah.
Do they actually call it Paradise Island anymore, or is it just Themyscira? Anyway, that story where it was about Wonder Woman, her finding out her origins as far as her father goes, her relationship with her mother, and everything else going on the island with the other Amazons. That was fantastic. That's what I want to see more of. Not the specific setting, but more of Wonder Woman and how things affect her and how she reacts to that.
Her personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I also would like to see. I'm really, now that we're going to get going back to Justice League a little bit, starting with issue 7. The more modern Justice League members. In those stories, I want to see more of a congruence, I guess, between the Wonder Woman we're seeing in her own title and the Wonder Woman that we'll see, in the modern day with the other heroes. So I'm hoping that there's not a big disparity between those two characterizations, and I kind of think there might be. So I'm a little leery about that.
Well, I think quite frankly, there's going to be a disparity between all of these people's individual books and the Justice League.
Mm-hmm. Well, we already see it now. Well, it's 5-ish. I don't know how many years ago, but to see Wonder Woman at the beginning of Justice League, the way that she's portrayed, and to see her now, doesn't that seem like two different characters to you?
Yes. Obviously, in the Justice League 5 years ago, she's a very young, freewheeling kind of an individual,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like something really, besides the current storyline that's happening, that something really potentially bad happened to her during that time, and she's a much, I don't know if wiser is the right word, but
calmer. I'd say calmer, perhaps introspective.
Calmer, seasoned,
Mm-hmm.
Much more imperial
Mm-hmm.
than what her kind of teenage-yeared, having a good time. Look, this is ice cream, which I love that scene. I love that scene. By the way,
that was a good scene.
It's very, very cute. There's a definite difference between the two. Yeah.
Well, and I suppose
one's a woman in the world, and one is this kid. Really, I mean, to me, that's how I see the difference in the two.
The bright-eyed, naive foreigner in a foreign land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now she goes to heavy metal things, and yeah.
So I suppose again, there's a 5-year gap that they can go back and tell these stories, and I'm perfectly fine with them doing that. I'm just curious how.
Well, our biggest worry, basically the biggest worry about the Justice League thing is I think are these characters in character when we hit this 5-year mark for them,
mm-hmm.
when we're in the current timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Is how I see it anyway. That's the biggest test is are they going to be able to tell stories, and we're not going to be spending the entire time going, wait a second, that character wouldn't do that, or they certainly aren't that way, in their own book. Why are they this way in this book, kind of thing?
Yeah, and I would hope that Jeff Johns, being one, the chief creative officer, and two, being the writer who really does focus on character for the most part in his stories, would pick up on what's going on in the individual characters' titles and incorporate that into his stories.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump the gun here just a little bit. You read Green Lantern, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Green Lantern have Hal Jordan in it right now?
Oh, yeah.
So is there a fundamental difference between Hal Jordan 5 years ago in that first beginning of the Justice League stories and the Hal Jordan that's in
much like you described with Wonder Woman, he's much more brash and dickish in the old the 5 years ago Justice League story than he is now, which makes sense. The character's been on a journey.
Sure.
He's matured some. So yeah, it makes sense there that he's portrayed the way he is now as opposed to the way he was portrayed 5 or so years ago.
That's the same writer writing the character.
Exactly. And Johns has been on Green Lantern since 2005, I think. Yeah. So yeah, he's had a long time to get into the head of Hal Jordan. So. All right, let's move on. Another Justice Leaguer, The Flash. I only got the first issue of this, Travis. Did you pick up more than that?
I know.
Yeah.
Flash is one of those characters that I don't. And in all honesty, I don't think that Aquaman is stupid. He doesn't. He doesn't interest me. I picked up some miniseries in the past, and it's not a character that's ever interesting. And the Flash is one of those characters that doesn't interest me. I find them all interesting, like on the Justice League as part of a team. Mm-hmm. They're interesting there, but it's just one of those things I just don't want to read a title of. And the Flash is one of those characters I've never had an interest in. It doesn't matter who the Flash is, whether it's Wally, Barry, Bart, whoever else there is out there that was the Flash. It's not a character, power set, and that sort of thing that interests me.
Mm-hmm. So I know that there's been a lot of talk, the things I read on Twitter and on various websites. A lot of people are still impressed with Francis Manapul's art on the title, but that the story itself perhaps isn't quite up to snuff for the first 6 issues. And I know our friend Lee, who just he just posted on his comic blog, Leonard Snart's Gun, about the issue where Captain Cold comes into the story. And
sounds awful.
He was not very pleased about that. I'll just say. Did you read his review of that?
Oh yeah, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Or after he posted it. I mean, it sounds awful. I mean, despite what they've actually done to the Captain Cold's power set,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is unfortunate, first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
The dialogue that he posted
Yeah, that was horrible.
is awful. I mean, it makes the guy. It really does. He really does. I mean, I don't know. Like the Rogues Gallery is just this kind of throwaway thing, which to me is crazy. Because I mean, that's really the one thing that is appealing for me about the Flash is he does have kind of an interesting Rogues Gallery, and if they're going to make these kind of whiny throwaway characters, that's too bad. That's too bad because in a lot of cases, it's the villains that make the heroes, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You don't have cool bad guys to fight against. Who cares?
Well, and the Flash, his set of villains was called the Rogues Gallery. I mean, I think maybe even that character was the first to kind of call his villains that. You still have the Batman Rogues Gallery as well, but besides Batman, Flash I think probably had one of the most interesting villain sets in the DCU. So yeah, that's too bad. Speaking of Flash, we're gonna detour just a tiny bit, Travis, because I forgot to mention this earlier when we were talking about WonderCon stuff. Did you see the image of the Earth 2 Flash that they posted?
Oh no.
Yeah, you should go check that out. It's part of the again.
Yeah, I have.
You did see it, okay, but
it's what's his face, right? It's
Who's what's his face?
The Flash. It's the Earth 2 Flash.
Yes.
Jay Garrick.
Yes. Right. Did you?
He looks like Ant-Man with a costume.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. That we talked.
No, I didn't see that costume.
we talked a few episodes ago about the Earth 2 World's Finest news, and we talked about some of the costumes that had been revealed at that time, which I liked. I can't.
Well, you know what? This is what I think's funny. To me, it seems like from all the Earth 2 costumes we've seen, they're all really, really busy.
Mm-hmm.
The costumes themselves, with the exception of Power Girl, her costume is like so incredibly plain, it's bizarre in my opinion.
Jarring in comparison.
Yeah, but all the other costumes have all this extra stuff on them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and the Earth 2 Flash's costume is not so bad. I mean, I agree with you that it looks like an Ant-Man helmet on him with electricity coming off of it, but it's the lightning bolt that goes not just down his chest, just like the Earth 2 Flash that we're more familiar with,
right?
Because he had that big bolt of lightning going down his chest into his belt line. That's okay, but the image that we see here, the lightning goes down as a stripe down the side of his pants.
Yep.
What the heck? Why is that? But it's still the familiar red and blue from the Earth 2, the old Earth 2 Flash. It's just the helmet's a little different, and so you're absolutely right when you say a lot of these costumes are busy, and this definitely is busy. So it may not have been the best choice.
And see, this is the thing is I've just decided that all this new Earth 2 stuff isn't my old Earth 2 stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm accepting it for that because otherwise I'll just be screaming forever. Because the old Earth 2 stuff, everything was simpler because of course it's all the older costumes from the older characters as a whole. So everything is simpler, looser, more flowing, more swashbuckly looking kind of thing. And obviously none of this new stuff is that way. No. This stuff is all hard angles and busy.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. I forgot to ask if you'd seen that one. So, all right, let's go on. Captain Atom is the next one.
I haven't collected it and didn't collect it at all.
Yeah. Did you didn't even get issue 1?
Nope.
That's right. And I did, and I dropped it because I didn't see anything in there that was really that interesting. I'm actually quite surprised that this title was not part of the 6 that got canceled. I thought for sure that this one, because when the 52 titles were released, I kind of, in the back of my head, I was thinking, which ones are going to be canceled first? And I thought for sure that one.
Going, I did too. I had this mental check mark of, well, that one ain't going to make it. That one ain't going to make it. Because I was like, who's going to care about this one? It's one of those ones that.
Yeah.
There are
someone's
people
buying
who
it,
like it though, so
or either enough people are buying it that it's keeping it from that threshold to get cut, or someone is inside DC's championing it to keep it going. So, or
or
both.
they can only cut so many at one time because they only have
That's
so many replacements at one time, and
that's true.
once they get more replacements, we'll see more disappear.
I'm sure that's true. Yeah. All right. Well, enough said about that one. Fury of Firestorm, the Nuclear Men.
What a disappointment.
Oh yeah. Well, I did, and we knew that from issue 1, didn't we?
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, I was really concerned. I was concerned with issue 1, but the people who are on it made me go, well, this is one I'll stick with because I have faith in the people who are on it. I have faith in Gail Simone.
Well,
that
Gail at least.
That it would turn itself around and be something else. I don't have a. I mean, obviously they changed Firestorm again, which okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm a Firestorm fan. I don't even mind how they changed it. You know, the fact they are two separate people and then they combine and become this bigger whatever entity.
Fury.
I was even fine with the concept of it.
Yeah.
But the execution of the book was a train wreck.
Yeah.
It was a train wreck.
So when did you drop it?
4. I want to say issue 4.
See, this is another one I kept till 6, just in the hopes that it would get better. But then, in the meantime, because
Gail got off the book.
Yeah, so I pre-ordered up through 6, and then it was announced that Gail would not be on. I think the last few issues. I can't remember that. Well, I'm done. I don't care what I don't care what they're going to do with it because Gail Simone was the only reason I was keeping with it at that point. So yeah, I'm done with it. Green Arrow is next. You're not getting that, are you, Travis?
Oh, yes, I am. This is one of those books, and I said I have them. This is one of those books. I pretty much buy it regardless of what kind of crap they do with it. Because it's Green Arrow, and Green Arrow's my guy. But yeah, I mean, the first issues were okay-ish, but and then it's been kind of a mess here in the middle because they've been playing musical writers and creators on the book as they try to transition. And Nassetti is supposed to be coming up. I'm excited about. I haven't gotten issue 7 yet. I know issue 7's out. I'm excited about that. Of course, I've already read some kind of reviews that make me wonder what the hell's going on. But
okay.
But I think she usually has some sort of a message in what she's doing, so I'll be curious to see. I mean, because heck, the first issue that she's writing, she's got 3 drop dead gorgeous blonde triplets in it, so that are all ooh la la sexy kind of thing, which kind of surprises me. But, so I'm guessing, unless she has changed as a writer, there's going to be something more to that. Like I said, I haven't read it yet, but this book has not been good. I know other Green Arrow fans that have dropped the book, and they were people who bought it because they really like Green Arrow, and they've dropped the book. So, these last couple issues with Dan Jurgens and Keith Giffen just kind of filling in because JT Kroll is off the book have been a mess.
Oh, really?
They've been, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm hoping for better things. The guy needs a beard. If he had a beard, that'd make the book that much better. But whatever.
Wait a minute. A beard is going to make the book better.
Yes.
The power of Green Arrow's beard.
That's right. I am not facially hair biased, but if the man was sporting his goatee again, the book would rock that much harder. It will be one of my questions at Emerald City Comic Con.
When's the beard coming back?
That's right. I guarantee you.
Oh my God.
It will be a question, and I normally don't stand up there and ask questions, but I'll be bugging him about that.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear this.
Thanks for putting him in Seattle. That's all cool and fine, but when's he going to become a man again and grow a beard?
Yeah. All right. God, I can't wait for that. Well, I only got the first issue, although I almost added this to my pull list, Travis, just because I liked. Yeah, it was good enough. I was intrigued enough but I just decided ultimately not to do it. So yeah.
Good call. You're not a fan of Green Arrow. Good call. And maybe if you are a fan, good call. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I figured I would get the news from you, and then maybe
The
I could
first
even.
storyline was okay-ish.
Yeah.
It wasn't exceptional, but I mean, it was fine just for being a, kind of a four-color superhero book. But then,
Now, don't you think, now that you've said that,
Huh?
don't you think that a lot of the new 52 that we've read, the first storyline was just okayish for many of the titles?
You know what? I think a lot of comic books in general are just okay-ish.
Well, you're right. That's probably yeah. That's accurate.
So I don't know that says anything about these books in comparison to anything else.
But okay, but
I mean, unless we're going to look at it as supposedly this relaunch was going to put these incredible combination of creators together to create some incredible books. And you know what?
Right.
I think it did, though. I think it did. I
In
don't
some
think
cases.
I don't think when the relaunch happened, and this may be a conversation for after this whole thing's over, when the relaunch happened, we didn't lose anything pre-relaunch as a whole, in my opinion, except for one book. We didn't lose anything that we didn't gain in the after the relaunch.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are more exceptional books out for DC that aren't just, whatever, now than there was before. In my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But there are lots of mediocre books. But then that's a problem with comics in general.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of mediocre stuff? It's not that they're telling a bad story. It's not that it's bad art. It's just, it's not anything special.
Okay. Next up is the Savage Hawkman.
Didn't get any of issues of it.
Yeah, I got through issue 4. I got it because based on my love of the character.
Right.
And I read the first issue. I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. And then I read the second issue. I'm like, oh, I'm done. But I decided to get, because the first 4 issues I found out was going to be the first storyline. So I went ahead and got through issue 4, and I should have just stopped after issue 2. Enough said on that one. Well, okay, not enough said, because I'll say who's coming onto the comic. We talked about this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna go up in sales like crazy.
Yeah,
it's got that exceptional writer on it.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Mr. Terrific.
Oh yeah.
Did you continue with that?
No. I read the first full arc, I think, and then that's when I quit getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like issue 4, I want to say.
Okay.
Of course, a new story was starting up in that one. Now I'm kind of wishing I had finished getting it just because it is done. And this is one of those ones that was definitely on my mental checklist of, I don't think this is going to make it.
Yeah, mine too.
Solely because, for one thing, even when I first heard about it, I was concerned about not making it just because, and I think we talked about this on one of our, last times we did, well, not last time, but way back when we did this podcast, is the fact is, how does a title like this with a character that nobody knows, how does it compete with next to Superman and Batman and stuff? I mean, there's only so much money that we can all spend, and most of us aren't out there buying all 52 titles.
Mm-hmm.
How does it compete?
Well, even against Green Arrow or Hawkman, for that matter.
Right. So, I like the ideas in this book. I like the character. I don't think they delivered some of the things the way that they should have, and I kind of thought the art was kind of a mess. I didn't like the art at all. But yeah, now I'm kind of wishing I had finished getting the singles.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna go pick up the trade, but now that it's ending and with it tying into the Earth 2 stuff, now I'm kind of kicking myself because I'd like to kind of see that.
Yeah.
Well, how that.
And in that first story, I can't remember because I did read the first one, but so I don't really remember the details. But wasn't there something introduced in that story about interdimensional travel or? Yeah,
he has his own pocket dimension.
So do you think that perhaps
he has the ability? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
So that'll tie into Earth
Star, and Karen Starr shows up and that's Power Girl for people who don't know, or was Power Girl, and it will be Power Girl. Anyway, she was in issue 2 or 3. I mean, she showed up in it. She was kind of I think they kind of showed her as being kind of a love interest of his. So, yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure that. I mean, I think that the comic. I think they've kind of hinted that the comic ends with him chucking himself into Earth 2.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. We can always go try and find those issues, Travis.
Yeah, I might.
If there are any around. Last title in the Justice League family, DC Universe Presents.
I like this book.
You like
I,
it?
yeah, I didn't like the last issue. I like the Dead Man story.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think that it went. I mean, I know some people are like, oh my god, this is too many issues or whatever. I actually thought that it felt like they shortened it up. Wasn't it supposed to be longer than what it was?
I don't
Because it only ended up being
think
like
so.
what? It only ended up being like what? 4 issues?
No, it was 5.
It was 5.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked it. I enjoyed the heck out of that story. But I like Dead Man. So, and I don't think they mistreated him. I thought it was, yeah. I thought that was interesting. I like that story. Now, the current one, I like the artwork, but can't stand otherwise. But
You're talking about the Challengers of the Unknown story that started?
Yeah,
I
and I like
that.
the Challengers of the Unknown. What?
I enjoyed that first story.
Really?
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
it was
a different comic than I read then.
It was okay-ish.
And it was horrible.
You know what? After hearing how bad his writing was, because I have not read anything by him other than I read that first issue of OMAC, and I did not read the Outsiders run that you detested. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm still getting this title. I thought the Dead Man story could have been 2 or 3 issues instead of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that DC Universe Presents ought to be shorter stories featuring the more fringe characters of the DCU.
Agreed. Well, this is going to be 2 issues, right? 2 or 3? The current Challenges in the
Yeah, 2 or 3. Yeah, because issue 9 starts with a new Vandal Savage story. So
and certainly the Challenges in the Unknown are kind of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I agree, but I just hope that I want more. Maybe this is the book that they should bump up to $3.99 and give us a couple stories.
Sure.
Per issue.
That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd still buy it if I got more stuff and fewer issues of those characters' stories. So it should be more like what Showcase used to be back in the 50s and 60s. Just highlight here's a new concept, or here's a character we haven't seen in a while, or or here's a new character, whatever. Just give me some interesting stories set in DCU.
Agreed.
So, all right. Let's go to Batman and start off with the premier title in this category, Batman.
Excellent comic.
Yeah.
For me, it hasn't missed a beat. I mean, the only thing is pre-launch. Of course, it was Detective Comics and different artists, but Scott Snyder, and then Scott Snyder going over to this book. But the nice thing about this book is other than they made him younger, they didn't really. You wouldn't know that there was a relaunch, really.
Yeah, not really, no.
No, it was one of the books that they didn't mess with because it wasn't broken. They figured, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the heck out of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, me too. Yeah, me too, definitely. Detective Comics.
Not so much so. There are things I like about it.
So you're still getting it?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, it's Detective Comics.
I dropped it after 4.
Yeah, it's one of those titles that it hasn't gotten stinky enough to be so maddening that I won't pick it up. Just because it always feels like it's kind of a flagship title, even though now it doesn't get treated that way. It's Batman that gets treated as the flagship title, which I guess makes a certain amount of sense because it just has his name in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's okay. It's really hot and cold. It's really strange. There'll be, or I should say, warm and cold, not hot.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some titles, and sometimes it's interesting and good, and other times it's like, why? I don't know.
So did they ever, in the 6 issues that you've read, did they ever resolve the storyline where Joker's face
peels off his face? No. That's what's bizarre.
So it's just gone. That storyline is gone.
Yeah.
They don't even make mention of it.
Not that I can remember off the top of my head. So if they have, it's not memorable.
Yeah. That's too bad.
No, they went off, and now they're out. Now they're dealing with the Penguin.
They're
dealing with the Penguin, and there's some fun concepts in there. The Penguin is running a I don't know what I'll call it. He's gathered up all like the fourth and fifth string villains and has convinced them all that they should all be paying him for him to tutor them on how to make it in Gotham. Seriously.
Okay.
How to make it in Gotham, because, he kind of tells them all, each of you are, if you're out there by yourself, you're not going to survive. Batman's going to get you. And they're kind of like, yeah, either Batman or you are going to get us. So instead of us getting got, we're going to pay you. I don't know. It's kind of fun.
That is an interesting concept.
It's like I said, there's some fun stuff in there. I think that Tony Daniel isn't the greatest writer. He's got some good ideas and whatnot. I think that he would benefit if he could concentrate more on art and have a
co-writer.
And I think he would be much better than, like, let's say David Finch would be, for instance.
Yeah.
Depending on who they had him co-write with.
Sure.
Because I like Tony Daniel's artwork before the relaunch when he wasn't the writer. But he's had to change his style to, of course, write and draw at the same time, because, hell, that's a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gotten rougher and quicker, and so it's not as eye appealing as what it was prior to it. So I would like to see him get a co-writer that he could go, hey, these are some of the ideas I want to address, and be able to work with somebody to actually write that for him while he can concentrate more on the artwork.
Okay.
Is what I'd like to see. But
all right. Let's go to the next one. Batwing.
I'm getting this book.
You're still getting it?
Yep, still getting it.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it too. Partially, I was enjoying it for the eye candy of Ben Oliver. He's the artist. I liked his the look he gave for the book. The story's actually kind of interesting too. Unfortunately, right now they're heading towards Gotham to deal with some stuff, which I don't know if it's setting up something else, but I kind of like the fact that he was on his own continent dealing with his own thing and whatnot. And to have to go to Gotham, to me, feels somewhat unfortunate, just because part of the appeal of the book is he's an African superhero dealing with Africa's issues and whatnot. But yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised at how much I'm liking it.
Good. Yeah, I only got that first issue, but I've heard good things about it, and I actually did. I did order the it was an issue or two where he's doing basically a crossover with the Batman characters in Gotham
for the Court of Owls thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was before the Court of Owls part, right? He just comes to Gotham, and
he comes to Gotham because one of the people he needs to. Because in the storyline, there's a whole bunch of there was a group of African superheroes called the Kingdom, and they're slowly being hunted down and killed. Well, there's like one or two left, and one of them is in Gotham, so they're rushing there to try and save the guy from being butchered.
Yeah, see that whole the Kingdom storyline I've heard is pretty good, or at least the characters that they're introducing are interesting. So
it is interesting.
Unfortunately, they're getting killed off. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Batman: The Dark Knight.
Not getting it. Never got it.
Yeah, I got the first one, and that's it. And all I've heard is this title's kind of stinky.
Yep.
So that's it. All right. Yep. Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I'm getting this.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
I think it's the second best Bat title. And okay, let me qualify that. I think it's in some ways for me, for some of the qualities in the story, it's actually the better Bat title, because I am loving the interaction between Batman and Robin in this as father and son, with this element of this guy from Batman's past, back when he was training before he became Batman, coming into it and messing things up, and it's just been really good. I've enjoyed both the writing and the art in this title, and I'll keep with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it too. I'm liking this arc with the nobody and whatnot. There was one moment in the book of like issue 3, I want to say, that worried me, that they were making Damian too regressive, not aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and kind of implying that he was potentially a stone cold killer or a psychopath. Now, the writers have said that that's not what their intention was, but he snatches that bat out of the air and just squeezes it for the sake of squeezing it and killing it. I don't see how else you could take that. How else you're supposed to take that scene other than, yeah. So I had a bit of problem briefly with that, but I really enjoyed the book. My only thing is issue 1. There was stuff in issue 1 that I loved so much. It was like I read that first issue and I'm like, oh my God, there are some, seriously magical moments in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've enjoyed the comic, but it hasn't had those magical moments that first issue had.
Yeah, you're right.
That whole Batman deciding he's going to turn a leaf, he's going to celebrate the anniversary. Some of the images of like the, when he's standing there in the sewer under the grate and the pearls are coming down through. There was some awesome stuff in that first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying the comic book. It's one of the comic books I definitely love picking up and whatnot. And I'm just like you, I'm loving the interaction between, Alfred and Bruce and Alfred and Damian and
right.
Damian. And those three of them together. That's what makes this comic for me really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad they figured out a way to make it work, because it did work with when it was Dick and Damian. It worked then too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it didn't have those moments for me that first issue had.
Yeah, I think that perhaps they went decided to focus more on the plot as opposed to the character imagery that they had in that first issue. But
well, sure, and probably doesn't only take you so far. But I just keep waiting for that, for them to work some more of those in somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, Batgirl.
Oh, this comic frustrates me. I don't know. Anybody listens to my reviews of it and whatnot. This is not one of those books I want to like. I like the writer that's on the book. The character frustrates me. I know a lot of people talk about, and I'm not getting it. And I mean, it must be me, because half my house my entire house reads this book, 4 people in my house, and half of them think it's just fine and don't see it the same way that I see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about Ethan. I don't know if he's just swayed by me and my continued grousing about it, or that's really his opinion too on it. She seems pathetic. Might be too strong of a word.
Oh, I would think so.
Okay, but she seems. I mean, she gets whatever needs to be done, but she's such a. I can't even. I don't know what word to use. It just frustrates me that she's not. Obviously, she's a strong person because she makes it through it all, and she's dealing with all kinds of stuff and whatnot. But to me, it doesn't feel like she's a strong person. This last issue, it starts to feel more like, okay, I can do this. I can really do this. As opposed to spending all of her time worrying. It seems to me like she's constantly like, oh, this and oh, that. And I guess it just frustrates me, because I'm used to Barbara Gordon being this strong character who acts strong and talks strong and thinks strong. And to me, it doesn't feel like she thinks strong.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing all the stuff that she needs to do, but it seems to me like she's spending all of her time worrying about all the what ifs and stuff. And I guess I'm frustrated by that.
See, now I take this, and I don't agree with you in what you just said. But I take it as she's just come back from this horrific experience, and yeah, she's going to have doubts. And what I have faith in Gail Simone, her writing on this title, is that eventually Batgirl will develop into the character that you want her to be right now.
Okay, so how many issues we're going to have before she gets somewhere close to that?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm enjoying the ride.
Okay. See, to me, it frustrates me, and part of it is my prior knowledge of this character and my prior knowledge of the Batgirl before it, and all that gets hung up amongst me reading this. I know that because the prior Barbara Gordon was stronger than hell.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally. Even if she was concerned about things, she still had her shit together, and it doesn't feel like this version does so much. I mean, I understand that she's freshly newly back and whatnot, and she shouldn't just come back like it was no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this last issue made me feel like that. Okay, we're making progress. It just felt like we had 5 months of what felt to me like no progress in getting to a better place.
See, now I took these last 6 issues as there's been sufficient progress in the characterization, given what supposedly has happened to her in these last 5 years.
Well, like I said, my wife and my daughter are on the same page with you, and I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Batwoman.
I like this title.
Yeah.
I like this title a lot. I mean, first, for the obvious reasons, the first 5 issues, you just had the incredible art on it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying the story too. I'm intrigued by what's going on in the story. I think it's interesting that we started out with these first issues. There was this ghosty kind of thing that was happening and whatnot. Plus, you have these people that are hunting Batwoman down. It kind of got resolved, but now it's created new issues with her working with the DAO or DOI, whichever it is.
DEO? Whatever that is.
So that's interesting and whatnot. I'm glad they're using Agent Chase more because I think she's an interesting character and stuff. And I could gush on and on about J.H. Williams' art and the way he delivers.
Yep.
The different styles for different stuff that's going on and whatnot. I even enjoyed this first issue of Amy Readers where she's doing the artwork on it. Of course, she's now going to be off the book. She's only doing two issues.
Yeah.
Because there's some issues that went on there, which I think is unfortunate.
Creative differences.
Sure. Well, whatever that means. I mean, I don't. I guess
isn't that what she said? There were some creative issues.
Oh yeah. And I mean, if you really want to delve into it, you can kind of. There's some interesting stuff, I guess, but I'm kind of making a point of not delving into it.
Sure.
Unfortunately, she's on the book. I hope that they find something else for her to do. I think that she has really strong talents in some things, and I think the things that she doesn't have strengths in, I think will just get better with time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping something else comes up. I think what I think is unfortunate for her, again, kind of off subject a little bit, is they had her in this basically holding pattern for an extremely long time where she was doing not a whole lot of work. She's under contract with DC, and they don't really have her doing anything. She's not putting anything out there, so her name isn't out there, her stuff isn't out there. And then to get basically a book into the title, and now she's getting shut down, and in 2 months her DC contract runs out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So I think it stinks for her. So I hope that she lands on her feet wherever, however that might be, and she gets to go on. But like I said, I think the story is interesting, regardless of the exceptional art we're going to get every other arc. Mm-hmm. I think they've got an interesting story to tell.
See, this is an example of where the artist comes in as basically the writer, and is doing a really good job, I think, at telling a story, where we haven't got that in some other cases, I'll say. But yeah, everything you've said about Batwoman, I agree with totally. So I'm really enjoying this title, and I look forward to J.H. Williams coming back to do his arcs.
Sure.
But I also enjoy the idea of having artists come in to do mini arcs or even fill in issues just to give him a chance to recuperate.
Well, you know what? I like it better that they're actually on for an arc. The artist is on for an arc instead of it just being all of a sudden in the middle of a story.
Oh, sure.
All of a sudden, boom, it changes ours. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like this setup. The fact is he knows, and we all know, he can't maintain both all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a system set up to where it's not like right in the middle of a story, it suddenly changes. I think this is much better than, well, I'm behind, so we're going to have so-and-so, fill in this issue or that.
Yeah. I agree with that. You're absolutely right. That is the better situation to have planned, not fill-ins, but planned different artists coming in to do arcs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, Nightwing. Are you getting that?
Yes, I am.
Still? Really? I'm surprised.
And this is all just layover because could care less about Dick, could care less about Nightwing until he became Batman, and so I got to read his character for quite some time, and I kind of like the guy. I'm not really caring for this title though. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. it doesn't, to me, it doesn't feel like it's really, it's like, oh my Lord, issue
Well,
6, we're finally getting to really something.
well,
The whole,
and where they're going,
eh,
what they're doing with it, where they're going with it is not really that interesting.
no, it's boring. It's boring.
You know,
So,
that reveal, what was it, was it issue 5, where we find out that,
oh, that,
and
what's his face?
spoilers here in case people haven't read it. I'm sure they have, but um, just in case.
If they haven't, I'm not gonna.
But yeah, that the psycho character after Dick Grayson is an old friend of Dick's from the circus days, and what's her name, the redheaded old love interest who they did rekindle that relationship in the first few issues.
Right.
They're working together to bring Dick down.
Yep.
Like, oh, really? Really? How hackneyed? I'm sorry, perhaps that's too strong a word. How stereotypical of a storyline is that?
Yep.
Plus the fact, little things that bug me about this type. Like Green Arrow for you, Nightwing is to me. So, Dick Grayson, I'll buy Nightwing probably through thick and thin. Although I did in the last series that they had of his, I did drop it after a while. But you know what? I did go back and buy all the issues anyway. so I had a complete run. Anyway, so this storyline's not been the best. I kind of like seeing him do the circus thing, but I've seen that before. Other than that, I don't know where they're going with this, or I think you've said this before too, but I'd like to see him outside of Gotham, and they're kind of doing that because the circus is traveling, which that makes perfect sense.
But it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered.
But you're right, it hasn't mattered.
Where he's at could be set anywhere. It just doesn't matter. And
I just read that the new storyline coming up, it brings him back to Gotham, and here he is again.
Well, he's gonna do. It's gonna have to do with like the Gates of Gotham kind of thing, right? I mean, the next storyline is going to be kind of tied in. I thought I saw somewhere like WonderCon, they were talking to Kyle Higgins,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
Higgins. And it's gonna tie into that more, which to me that's interesting.
It could.
I like that miniseries.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Anyway, this title is somewhat disappointing.
Yeah. So I was gonna drop this book. I'm gonna hang on to it now.
Now that
because,
you know that.
Hearing that, I'm going to hang on to it now because I don't have an issue with him being in Gotham. I just want him to be his own man.
Yes.
Yeah. And be interesting being his own man.
Well, but okay, but so now that you say that, I think he is. It doesn't seem like that Dick is living in the shadow of Batman as he's portrayed.
Well, that was one of
my
concerns with him being in Gotham is that he's a Batman replacement.
Mm-hmm.
That I guess that's what I meant by that,
mm-hmm.
is that I'm starting to see him as something other than that, but now I'm just this hasn't been interesting, unfortunately. But no, I've been sticking with it. Like I said, because it's going to tie into that miniseries, which I did think was interesting. If it's going to have something to do with that kind of stuff, I'll hang around. Plus, I'll hang around at least through the Court of Owls thing, just because. I've already been getting it, so I might as well pick up those issues that have to do with it.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Whatever.
I was fine with the Court of Owls thing being, in the Batman title, but then they, throw it out to every.
Well, come on, if it would almost have to.
You're right.
If this society has had the kind of grip and control and secrecy going on in Gotham, anybody who operates in Gotham would be affected by this. If they suddenly let loose,
you're right,
all of these talons, it wouldn't feel like a universe that they're all in. If it was just Bruce that ran into him and nobody else did.
Yeah, but it's a crossover, Travis.
That makes sense. It's a crossover. That makes sense. It's not a crossover of, boy, we need to give as many people reading as many of these different titles as we can so we can make money. Yeah. I mean, I know that's what we're doing, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
This crossover, because I know the origins of this crossover is 100% organic.
Okay.
It was gonna just be in Batman. Scott Snyder had the idea. This is what he was gonna do, and he was gonna do it in Batman. And then the editors went, "Oh, this is a cool idea, and we we should incorporate it,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, dang, we need a crossover this year. Let's make this. Let's
Right,
have
right.
Skrulls come down, or let's do the Flashpoint, or what
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that
just
you're,
make it smooth.
it is more organic. That's for sure.
Anyway,
All right, Catwoman. Are you still getting
this,
this?
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
This is a smart book. I mean, move past the first issue, or oh my god, they might have been having sex or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a graphic book. It's more violent than it is anything else. Are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
Holy crap! I was concerned with my, soon to be 14-year-old reading this book because of the first issue was a bit uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'd be more concerned with him reading it just because of it's not superhero violence. This is, brutal violence
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, but despite that, I like the book.
Yeah.
And I know I must be a horrible, horrible or stereotypical male. I like the artwork. I don't care if it is quasi eye candy and whatnot. They haven't been showing her falling out of her costume for quite some time. And yes, she's still hippie and breasty and whatnot. And unfortunately, that's just to some degree the reality of superhero comics.
Mm-hmm.
And not a cross I'm going to try and bear to fix. So
yeah. Well, I'm actually surprised at how much I've enjoyed this title. I picked up the first issue only because I heard the buzz about it first,
right.
And so I'm like, oh, let me actually read the source material to find out what's going on here. And I was, again, I'll say that I was surprised at what was there, and it intrigued me enough to keep getting it. And so far I've been enjoying it. I tweeted about this the other day when I read, I think it was issue 6.
Yeah.
But that scene where Batman again confronts Selina,
I love that stuff.
And she, basically, maybe I do want to die was the message, and he just backs away.
Yeah.
That was a great scene between those characters. So that's the kind of stuff that I want to see more of in this title. Not necessarily between those two characters, but that kind of characterization. So, I will admit though that I'm starting to sense in myself that I might be dropping this. We'll see how the next storyline goes. But other than that, I mean, the first 6 issues I've enjoyed. So, all right, Birds of Prey.
This is another book I like.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm enjoying this restart of the Birds of Prey more than the last restart of the Birds of Prey.
I figured you'd say that, and for me, I'm very surprised at how much I've or my reaction to this title, because I thought for sure I would not care for this that much, and I've really enjoyed it, especially the new character Starling.
Yeah, it's just been fun. There was one hiccup in one of the issues that bugged me, but beyond that, I've enjoyed it. I think it's been a fun book.
Mm-hmm. And I particularly care. I like that whole the first bit where people are saying the nursery rhymes and all of a sudden they explode. That was that was kind of interesting, but that would get old really quick. But then what they've done, which is this is good storytelling, is that they introduce this first layer of what's going on, the antagonist or the antagonistic situation that the heroes have to overcome, and they built on this second layer now. Where they basically lost their memories when they encountered that the group of villains, and they're just building on that, and that's what I like to see for these kind of titles. You introduce something, you give them a little bit more, you build a little bit more, and it seems much more organic in the way that it's building to something coming up. And so I particularly enjoy what they've done, and I think on this title, and the writer now escapes me, who's writing this title.
Dwayne, I can't pronounce his last name.
Swierczynski?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I really like what he's done on this, as opposed to some other titles that we've talked about already. But yeah, this has been enjoyable. Red Hood and the Outlaws.
This is another book I like, and I'm liking it more and more as the book goes along.
So you're still getting it?
The first issue, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Last issue I thought was great. Last issue, are you still getting this?
No, I dropped it after 3.
Last issue was awesome because last issue tells what happened basically right before the first issue.
Oh.
It gives us kind of more of a background of Jason Todd and where he was at with stuff.
Uh-huh.
And it was a good story. It was a good story.
This was another one where I was really surprised at the storytelling because it made me care about Jason Todd, the character, and that's much like you don't like Hal Jordan.
Right.
I just don't like Jason Todd. I've never cared for that character, and especially when he came back as the more vigilante type of character. I just never cared for it. But when I started reading, I read the first 3 issues, like I said, and especially when there's that one scene, I think it was in issue 3, where it was a flashback to when he was still Robin, and just that scene between him and Bruce and I think Alfred, I can't remember exactly now, but it just struck a chord with me, and I thought, maybe I should still get this, but I was actually looking for titles to drop because I was getting way too many things and there wasn't quite enough there. And I won't say that. It was because my prejudice against Jason Todd that I dropped this, as opposed to anything else that's actually in the title. So now I'm kind of regretting it because I've heard that it just keeps getting better and better.
This last issue you would have liked, issue 6.
Oh crap!
Because it's all that.
Is it?
Yeah, it's got his interaction with Dick. It's got interaction with him and Dick together.
Mm-hmm.
It's got him and Coriander, and you get some of Coriander's perspective on Dick. There's some fun scenes in it.
All right, I'm gonna have to go pick that up then. I might as well just go get 4 and 5 as well.
Like I said, I'm really surprised because the first issue, I did not like. Yeah. I really didn't like, but of course I had pre-ordered a few, so I was going to get a few anyway. I didn't really like the first issue because of all the how juvenile it felt. How juvenile.
Mm-hmm. I remember when you talked about that.
Jason and Roy are. It's like, oh man, and even Roy has developed a personality, and I was like freaking out because I kind of like Roy too, and he was coming across basically as the equivalent of Shaggy from Shaggy, from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Just kind of. I mean, I expected him to be smoking pot or something at some point because he was just kind of kind of a dumb. I don't know, and so he's gotten more personality and more a reason I should care about him and whatnot. But Jason is really interesting. I'm not a big Jason fan, but I don't have a problem with him. But this has made him really interesting. It's been interesting. So I'm enjoying the title,
dude.
And each issue I enjoy more than the last issue.
Dude, I don't need another title to get. Stop it right now.
Yeah. Okay. Sucks. Right. It's red hood. It's lame.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go to Superman. Action Comics.
Yeah, I'm not going to be reading that. I mean, I don't have this. I don't collect much in the way of Superman titles, so.
Okay. What did you get through Action Comics? How many issues?
I didn't get any of them.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
Nope.
I misunderstood what you said. Okay, so I have been getting it and I have been loving it. Well, just like Batman is the premier Batman family title, Action Comics is that for Superman. And Grant Morrison's run on this has just been phenomenal. I love you got your usual Grant Morrison kind of high concepts, although it's not quite as high concept as Final Crisis was. But you still, you get enough of that, and there's some great character moments. You get some really good flashback bits showing us, things that happened before Superman became Superman. I've just been loving this. It's been a great title, and I foresee I'll keep getting this, especially as long as Grant Morrison is writing it. So, very good stuff. And then, so next is Superman. So where you get, like I said, the great stuff in Action Comics. Superman has been a little disappointing. Did you read this?
Nope.
You didn't read Superman either? So, okay. Did you read any of the Superman titles?
Supergirl.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. So
Yep.
Superman, I like I said in that first issue review, I liked the new media aspect. With Lois Lane heading up a TV news division, I thought that made a lot of sense. I like that Clark Kent is still he's still he's kind of like you, Travis, in the digital versus print. He's still old school journalist going after the common man stories that probably most newspapers don't really feature anymore. I don't know if that analogy works, but there you go. But the storyline itself that George Perez started, again, kind of like we were talking earlier about pieces that work and JLI, but it doesn't quite gel. Yeah, the same kind of situation here, and I'm not sure what's not working. It just doesn't quite come together for me. Though the art,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's super. If somebody's just going to walk into a store to buy a comic, Superman's the thing they're going to look at and think, oh, yeah, this is Superman, and this is the title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be. It shows Superman should be what Batman is to the Batman family, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm hoping things will improve. George Perez is going off after issue 6. They're bringing in new people, so I'm hoping things will improve. I don't mean to say that I think it's all George Perez. But him being the writer on the book, I tend to put a lot of the onus onto the writer, as opposed to it's a collaboration. So we know that many situations where the artist and the writer work together to develop the story. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that situation is between these two creators, but regardless, I do tend to put a lot of the responsibility on the writer. So I kind of have to do that here too. So we'll see how it goes. I did really enjoy though the last couple issues as far as the art, because that has Amanda Connor, I believe. See, this is where I need to have these things prepared, my notes in order, Travis, because I don't remember now if that was her. But the art was much improved, even over the George Perez rough. And
was it Amanda Connor or was it Nicholas Scott?
I'm sorry. Well, you're right. It was Nicholas Scott. Yes, I get those two confused in my mind for some reason. But yeah, Nicholas Scott did a fantastic job doing the art on those couple issues. Better than I have to say than the Perez Jose Marino stuff. It wasn't bad, but to see Nicholas Scott do Superman was just nice. Okay, Superboy. I only got the first issue.
Now, see, I'm almost interested in this book, not from the beginning, but just the little bits that he's been in the that Superboy's been in the Teen Titans title. Mm-hmm. He's interesting.
In what way?
Just the character, what he is now, what his powers are, what he's supposed to be doing, because currently he did represent the bad guys of the book, of the Teen Titans book, and now he's kind of gone off the reservation, it sounds like, at least from the Teen Titans book. So I don't know, that just kind of made him seem interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I have no idea.
And this whole the culling storyline that's going to cross over between Superboy, Teen Titans, and Legion Lost, just because I'm getting those crossover issues. But I've been hearing things much like you're talking about, him becoming more interesting now that he's going, as you say, off the res. It almost makes me want to pick it up. But I am going to get, like I said, I'm going to get the culling issue where he's being featured, and we'll see how that goes. But I didn't care for the introduction of this character in the situation that they put him in. So, but I did like you. I liked what I saw in Teen Titans. But as far as the title itself, at least so far. All right, so here's the one Superman family title that you do get, Supergirl.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. I really like the artwork. And the story's been okay. I'm excited now because we, to some degree, have moved past her just being in a panic of where am I? What's going on? I don't understand. Um, they introduced a character, a villain in it that kind of felt Lex Luthor-y to a large degree, which kind of concerned me. But I think they've adjusted that with how that part of the story all turned out. I'm assuming that character will show up at some point. Now we're dealing with some Kryptonian stuff back on Earth, and she's decided that Earth is home. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what comes next. My 11-year-old daughter really likes the book. Yeah, I think it's, I don't know that it's exceptional, but I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I really like the artist. I like the artwork. How much of this book did you pick up? Because I'm assuming you're still getting it.
I'm not. I dropped it after issue 6. And I knew I was going to do that after probably the third or fourth issue. It was okay. I was hoping for more, and by that I don't know that I could quantify what that means.
Right. Sure.
But I just there were some elements of it that I liked. It just wasn't coming together for me. Although by the 5th and 6th issue, things were starting to improve in my mind, and I started to rethink about it. But again, I was getting too many titles, and so this was one of the ones I dropped. So.
Well, I have to say one of the big reasons that this book is still on my poll is because my kid really enjoys it. So that's
if that wasn't a factor, would you not be getting it?
No, I still think I would, unless something else comes up, and because I'm at that right now, I'm at a kind of a critical tipping point of how many books can I afford to get, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm having to make decisions on what I'm getting and not getting. And so far, it's still on that. Now, if like tomorrow suddenly there's something announced that I'm just like, damn, I need to get that. If my daughter wasn't reading this could be closer to being on that list of things that I'd have to sacrifice to get something else that I want more.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's a bad book.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad book to me. It just wasn't quite enough to keep going. So. All right, so that's the first 3 groups done: Justice League, Batman, and the Superman books. Travis, I think we should split these into 2 parts. We should stop here for this episode.
Okay.
All right, so that's part 1 of our look at the first 6 issues. We'll have part 2 coming out very soon. Let's see. Be sure to let us know what you think of these titles and what we think of those titles, or what you think of what we think of these titles. That'd be good. Email me at longboxreview@gmail.com. You can leave comments at the blog. You can tweet us. Sorry, you could tweet us on Twitter. I'm at Longbox Review. Travis, where are you at?
I'm at the Gauntman with underscores in between those 3 words.
All right. There you go. Be sure to come back for part 2 of our look at the new 52 6 months in. Thanks for listening.